6 guys, 3 sports, no leash. This is the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. Football, hockey, and baseball the way it's meant to be. Loud, raw, and completely unfiltered.
Okay, here we are back in August. My goodness, where did summer go? But we've got some great guests on tonight. We'll start her off with Commissioner of the GOHL, Craig Spada. Craig, thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Guys, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Craig, you and your crew have done an amazing job over the past year that we've been watching the GOHL, Halser, myself, Shanker, and the rest of the guys on the podcast. You guys have had a season for the ages, exponential growth in fan engagement, and you just hit it out of the park from what we can see, you know, culminating with Cambridge and St. Mary's having an epic 5-game Sutherland Cup final. So congratulations on that and your association with the OHL. You guys are doing a lot of right things, Craig.
Well, thanks very much. And comes from a lot of people, a lot of work, and certainly a lot of publicity from this group like yourself here. We appreciate the publicity, and like they say that it's great when you get an opportunity to talk about your league, but it's also more rewarding when you actually get to see these players move on, and you get to see series like, you know, you just mentioned. They are epic and they're exciting, and we're ecstatic that what's to come in the future too. It's exciting stuff.
Well, before we get into all of this stuff about the league, Halser was in contact with you, and he brought something to our attention that you and your family hold close to your heart. So I'll let Halser talk a little bit about that, what you and your family have going on with GOHL and a few other organizations. Halser?
Well, at the end of the day, thanks, Racer. And again, welcome, Craig, to the show. We sure appreciate having you on. So I know that you want to make this about the Go, and you're very specific that you don't want to make it about you, but there's some really cool stuff going on involving the Spada family called SPADA STRONG. I know that your son has started a really cool movement. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my son, through GOHL, was his mother had some serious cancer as she was growing up, and the way my daughter and him were able to handle that, I think probably was harder on them than maybe we recognized at the over the time. And now that he's in a position to give back, he certainly he's like I said, a 6'7" kid, but he's got a big heart. And I think as much as he fights on the ice, he fights off the ice and wants to see kids taken care of that are going through cancer. So that's kind of touched his heart. He's going to he started this foundation called SPADA Strong. It certainly grabbed a lot of attention quickly. And the exciting thing is he is going to have a young child from Hamilton come to his games and be that SPADA star of the game. And we're going to see where this goes. I know that it's a cool opportunity for a child just to see some excitement when they're going through such terrible times. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel for most. And I think that's really his message. And I'm couldn't be more proud of him personally and what he's accomplishing here. And without the support of GOHL, it wouldn't be possible. But it's really a cool initiative. And I hope you guys all keep an eye on it and see where it goes here.
Well, it's fantastic, and we know that we're all super proud of our kids at all times, but that sure takes it to another level, doesn't it, when you see them give back like that? And so congratulations to you and your family on that. So, Razor, let's talk some hockey.
Well, like I said, the culmination back in May with Cambridge and St. Mary's was that's where, we really got to meet Craig and just kind of introduce ourselves. And it's just amazing. I was looking today doing research at the number of kids, and I'm not going to hit them all, so I apologize. But just some of the names that have been sticking out that are going to be signing or have signed with OHL teams. Alex Forrest, star defenseman with Cambridge, moving on to the Kitchener Rangers. Jacob Van Deven, defenseman from Kamoka. He gets drafted by the Bruins. Like, that's pretty cool. You had 3 guys, I believe, Craig, that were on Central Scouting's list. Jake Ritson, forward from Strathroy Rockets, star player with them, signed with London. Cody Wood, defenseman with London Nationals, signing with the Knights. Like, there are a lot of guys going on to the next level. And it's unfortunate. We are a developmental league, right? Like, it's like the O. The O is a developmental league for the NHL. So you enjoy the time that you have with these kids. But just kind of tell us a little bit about how the relationship came to be with the OHL and how you two are fitting together, Craig.
Yeah, it's been a long process. It started quite some time ago, and we've worked at it to see what would work and what could be. And it's the locations of the OHL teams in our cities are very, very close knit, and the geography, it's not, Craig Spada as commissioner, Brian Crawford as commissioner of the OHL being geniuses, that the natural geography makes that, impossible to stop, I guess I would say, which is, obviously something we're promoting, we're building off of. The greatest compliment I had last year was, geez, you guys have created a mini OHL, and I don't think we're anywhere near the OHL, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying in that comment, but I am going to brag about the atmospheres are much the same. When you walk into Stratford or St. Mary's or, St. Catharines or Fort Erie or wherever you want to go, Cambridge, of course, the names go on, the rinks go on and on. The atmosphere in those buildings are packed and exciting. And that's what kids want to play in front of, right? So when I watch the OHL and you go into a rink and it's packed, those kids are dramatically excited to play in front of people. And I mean, I think back of playing or whatever we all do, we like to do that in front of crowds. And that's the exciting part about the GOHL. The communities are involved. They promote that player. So when an OHL kid, draft player is in that arena for only a year, like you said, or maybe 2, he becomes part of that community, and then he becomes followed again when he reaches that OHL plateau or stepping stone maybe for his eventual NHL plateau. But that is the exciting part, I think, about the connection. I also look at a 16-year-old who's not ready to play in the OHL, now, gets to play in our league and gets to play often and a lot. And, I credit our coaches and I credit our GMs for, taking these younger players on. And we've created a league where there is room for these 16 and 17-year-old players to play. And they'd never get the opportunities to be successful if they didn't play. And that's what I think is happening here a lot with this connection. It seems to be working that way.
You just go down the list of the GOHL teams and you look at all the draft picks that the OHL feels comfortable placing them with all the different teams. It's just amazing. And like I said, a testament to you guys being the go-to league for placing kids that maybe aren't quite ready for the OHL in a situation like you just said, to light it up, get playing time, and build that confidence so that they can go on to the OHL. So hats off to you guys doing that.
You've got a partnership already started, but now you've come out with the announcement that you're taking that sort of next level as far as the integration of the rules of the OHL. There's been a lot of chatter on social media about what exactly the difference are going to be. So maybe you could elaborate. The first one that I've heard is that now pucks over the glass are no longer icing. That's a penalty. I don't even know. Maybe you could just give the fans some kind of indication about something that they can see that'll be different next year on the ice as far as how the game is called and how it's played.
Yeah. So we want to take it all to the next level. I mean, we just before I touch on the rules, we have asked for more 16-year-olds, and we did get the OHF has in Hockey Canada has granted a third 16-year-old player, provided he's placed by one of the 20 OHL teams. So there could be up to 20 more OHL 16-year-old drafted players in the league next year. If they live up north, they could be placed there. If they live, somewhere else, they could be placed. But we are seeing a number of them come into our league already. So that's a high-end pick. So that player there will now be allowed to play up to 30-some games in the OHL, where he was only allowed to play 10 prior. So in doing that, though, we've made a deal with minor hockey that we will, by taking that third 16-year-old player, we will put a 17-year-old player into the U18 program, use him up to half of our games, so 25 of our games. And I think it's going to be a relationship that allows a player that is maybe not ready for the GOHL to now play a little bit more, and then a player that's maybe not ready for the OHL to play a little bit more and get a quicker movement that way. So that's exciting stuff to me, those type of movements, and getting the OHF and Hockey Canada on board to help us in those situations are exciting. As for the rules, we're trying to adapt and make every situation that a player leaving our league can go to the next level without any much change, of course. Obviously, by doing that, I'm hoping to get, some officiating consistency. We always work towards bettering that. But if we keep all the rules in Ontario the same, I can't see how that can't be better for the player, the officials, the hockey, the fan, everything in general. To answer your question directly, the puck over the glass rule is a penalty. It's a penalty in the National Hockey League. It's a penalty in the OHL, and it'll be a penalty in our league next year. I know we are one of, if the only league not adopting that, but I really want to keep the rules exact as much as possible. Player safety weighs in. So we had to compromise on the fighting rule. I'm not saying compromise in that we compromise. I think it was the right thing to do. So that fighting rule will still be a game misconduct. And the full visor is talked about, but at this time, we're going to stay with it. It's just we have way too many 16, 17-year-old players. And then now an 18-year-old player would be the only one allowed to wear the visor. So 18, 19, 20-year-old. And to me, it's very difficult to create a consistency there. Now I have an 18-year-old fighting a 17-year-old, and one's got a half visor and one doesn't. A lot of problems. Puck stick in the face, half visor becomes a 4-minute penalty. Without it becomes a 2-minute. It's very challenging stuff to navigate around. And as you know, we've bought the first responders full paramedic equipment into our rinks. I think I'm proud of that because we're the only league that I think has it outside of the OHL. And so safety has to be massive when we're signing these young players and combining them with 16-year-olds with 20-year-olds. So that's there. There's a number of rules, guys, that I can go over, but they're quite endless. What will the fan notice? Probably the puck over the glass. The offsides are going to be much different. There's a floating blue line in the National Hockey League. Whether your skates up, it's still onside. There's a lot of those things. I think the biggest thing that's most exciting to me, and I've fought it for a long time here, and it's going to be incredible, is the net's coming off. So if the net comes off, the referees have the right to counter the goal.
I was going to hit you up with that one too, Craig, to be honest with you, because it's a hot button topic in this league, but for sure.
Yeah.
And so does that mean, Craig, with you guys adopting OHL rules, that every team is going to have to drill their pegs for their nets, or will they still be able to use the indentation ones that keep coming off? So
I've been successful in a lot of things, Razor, but I have been unsuccessful getting that accomplished. I put a mandate out. I gave everybody a year to put those pegs in place, and I took phone calls from mayors of cities to the recreation directors that we can't do this. It's too costly. It's this. I think we've got them in 11 or 12 rinks. We're working towards that exactly as you said. I would love to have them in every rink. As you know, we're not the OHL, and that right. Stands out to me in a lot of ways because we don't own the arenas. We don't have the community control that we'd like. Now, some have been amazing, and others have been, difficult. And I don't mean them being difficult. It's a lot of red tape for them to get through as well, right? So, right. Politically, I'll make that statement, but I would love to see him in there. Having said that, no, we're not having him in every rink. We're trying to get him in every rink. There's a couple other pegs that we've we're going to try. But in general, I think the key to it is this. If that shot gets taken and that puck's on its way to the net and that goalie knocks that net off, that still can be counted a goal. And there's no more frustration than we've seen a couple big goals, a couple big situations where, that net comes off and we all know in that whole arena that it's a goal, right?
And it was going in. Yeah.
And it was going in and now it doesn't count. And that's frustrating. And listen, I say controversy sells, right? I like to see some controversy in the arenas, whether it's, fans yelling and complaining or, some missed calls by officials. But in general, we want to get it right. That's the reality of it. But so we'll see. That'll be a major change there, guys, that we'll see.
All right. Fair enough. What about the Woodstock Navy Vets coming into the league? That is an amazing addition. You've got Waterloo moving over to the east. Tell us quickly about how all of that came to be.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of political battles as, went on for quite some time. And I think that I don't want to say it's a win, but getting the Woodstock team into our league is a massive victory for all our 23 other teams. They run an amazing product. They're built to run like we are. I think their location is dramatically set up for us, and I can't wait to see them involved and see them grow. I've talked to them as recent as yesterday. I know that they're really working. They're going. It's hard to get the right players or older players that fit in our league, but they are building from a younger avenue, and that's part of the game, and it's going to be exciting for them, I think. And I think the fan base is fits our league, and I couldn't be happier to add them as a 24th team. It's certainly, I think, a great place for them to be, and I think it'll create some great rivalries around that area.
Gives you great symmetry too, as well, right? With 12 in each and a really well located team. It's not like you're picking a team up, the other side of Toronto or something like that. That's way out of the way. So I thought it was a great win for the league getting Woodstock in.
Yeah, I think it's great. And you mentioned Toronto. I mean, we've looked at Toronto a lot. It's just, we want fans, right? We want to keep our player fees low, and we want fans. We don't want to be in arenas that aren't filled with people, and it's very difficult going that way. A, travel reasons, of course. B, fan bases seem to struggle in those areas, and as you know, I really pushed to get Caledon out of that area. That was heavy on my wish list, and it just was challenging to get to. It was challenging to make work. I tried working with the mayor. I tried working with the city. They were difficult, and to say it bluntly, it was just time to make a move and get them removed from there. And there was a couple options, and we hope that Stony Creek's the right spot. We'll see how that goes.
Perfect. Well, we're really looking forward to that and Stony Creek's edition. Craig, we appreciate you coming on. We'd love to spend another hour talking to you. I have a whole list of questions, but we don't want to take up all your time, and just really appreciate you coming on Unmuzzled tonight and talking to us for a little bit.
Well, I thank you guys, and you guys, like you said, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great things, and I want to personally thank you what you've done for the GOHL. It's certainly it's been a surprise how you guys took this and ran with it, but congratulations, and it's certainly you're proving yourselves as successful, and that's a wonderful thing.
Truth be told, it's been a surprise to us too, Craig. So we're just running with it.
Well, good stuff. Life surprises are the best sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks so much, Craig. Next guest is Jeff Bradley, head coach of the St. Mary's Lincolns. Brads, thanks for coming on tonight.
Oh, anytime.
Brads, I'd be remiss not to ask you about, has the sting subsided from the Game 5 loss there in May against Cambridge, or how long did it take you to get over that?
You know what? It's not that we're not over it, but you obviously turn the page. This has been like 4 years in a row we've lost to the champs, whether in the conference final or the Sutherland Cup. So I mean, you're playing in big games. We had a lot of fun, and you try to reflect a little bit, but you move on pretty quick and kind of see where you can get better a little bit, and then adjust in the summer. And then we play so far, usually into May, right? So mid-August, late August comes pretty quick.
Yeah, and you want to talk about an emotional heartstring series. Like, even though with me being a Warriors fan, with you knocking out my Warriors, I was half cheering for you, half cheering for Cambridge because they're good guys over there. But I'll never forget when Freeze scored there in Game 5 with 1:15 to go in the game. There were St. Mary's fans leaving, and they ended up, one guy, we won't say his name, but he left the rink. And then he heard a noise with 18 seconds to go when McCauley tied it up. And I don't know if he got back into the golf arena, but it was just a hilarious story because he did, because he said to Halser and I, and he goes, I was outside, I had left, I thought it was over. And then he heard the noise and came back in for overtime. So
they should have stayed out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but, so let's talk about quickly guys that you lost. You lost Owen Vortman, Lincoln Moore, McQueen Spence, all to age, and Colby Booth Housego decided to go back to the OJ. That's a lot of scoring, some solid D, some solid goaltending, but it looks like you've got some good guys coming in to replace all that firepower and goaltending. Like, tell us a little bit about Mikey Pope, Owen Bruning, and Hudson Blackburn.
Yeah, so it's not only the guys we brought in, but I mean, we've got 9 forwards returning from last year's roster, right? So there'll be holes to fill, obviously, with Moose, Vortman, and McQueen gone up front, and then it'll be a good opportunity for guys like McGregor, McMillan, Drobny, those kind of guys to step in for Montesi and Kalp, and obviously with Colby leaving, that opens things up for Brogan once again, and then Kobe Nadalin, he was a 16-year-old for Woodstock, their backup goaltender last year, and he signed with the Knights, but really excited about him. And yeah, like you said, Mikey Pope and Owen Bruning, and guys I'm not too familiar with, but thanks to Instat, we get to look at them a little bit more than we would, 5-6 years ago. So no, they look like they're the real deal. And yeah, we certainly didn't anticipate having, 9 forwards, 4D, and a goaltender back, but yeah, after losing, you do your exit interviews and stuff like that, and there's guys you anticipate will move on, and every single kid that was available to us to come back, pretty much so anyway, they wanted to come back and get another crack at things. So, no, we're excited, and I mean, the depth chart looks good, but that's one thing, and then the other is to actually get it done on the ice. So we're looking forward to starting, obviously, but a lot of work ahead, right?
Well, first things first, how's the body? I know you've been fighting it a bit, and you haven't been able to get out to the golf course. So
no, not much. Well, it was funny. My back's been a little messed up, but played in a tournament this weekend. There was Merlin Malinowski there, Rick Fifield, a bunch of guys from St. Mary's in St. Thomas. So it was pretty cool, kind of catching up with them a little bit. But yeah, played a couple times this week and feeling pretty good right now anyway.
That's good to hear. It must be back to hockey season. So I know it's a grind for you. First thing people are going to say is, who is this guy on the screen? Because every time that we've had you, you're all dressed up to the nines in a suit and got your glasses on, fully coiffed. And so you're almost incognito here, to be honest with you. So
yeah, glasses are gone, trimmed a little bit. So no.
So a couple things. First of all, the big announcement today being Monday that Cam Keen's going to be back for another year. That's a big ad for you guys. Gives you some size and some presence on the ice there as well. And so it looks like you're going to be deep all over as usual, and getting Brogan Calhoun back as well in net gives you that stability. So do you anticipate being able to play, with this roster, the same style that you guys have been known to play, with that heavy forecheck and the puck pressure in all zones there? That's a Bradley team. So these new guys, are you, when I coach baseball, I'm looking for guys that play my style of baseball. Do you feel like these new guys are going to be able to assimilate to the style that St. Mary's plays?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Listen, we've lost to some really good teams the past 4 seasons. So you try to take something from each of them. Even the ones we beat, like you look at Stratford, there was a lot of things they did that we liked. But you look at Leamington, like really good in the D zone. Listowel, like when they won the Sutherland Cup, like they were just amazing all over. Like probably the best team I'd ever seen, right? And then Chatham and Cambridge last year, and like I said, Stratford. So we want to change a couple things here and there, but yeah, I mean, keep our identity. And yeah, like you said, the forechecks always important. The neutral zone forecheck, stuff like that, getting up in the play. So yeah, that won't change. But like the guys we brought in, like Pat brought in, like Owen Bruning and Mikey Pope and Ronan McFarlane and all these guys, like they've played high level hockey and they understand the game. So the nice thing is having 9 returning forwards, 4D, and a goaltender is the learning curve is going to be a lot shorter, right? So not only are we going to teach the new guys, but those guys will teach and lead as well. So no, I don't see it being a problem whatsoever.
You still got a good core group in the room there, especially with Hodkinson back. And so
Sure.
One guy I really wanted to ask you about in his 3rd season with you is Chase McDougall.
Yep.
A lot of your fans like to hear about the local kids. So,
Sure.
Maybe an expanded role for him this year. He plays a big, heavy game. And, I think he's 19 this year, I think. So, he's still 18. So he could be a 5-year player. He could be one of those, what do they call them guys, Razor? Those guys that play 5 years in Stratford, the Golden Boys or whatever. He could be one of those guys, a 5-year Lincoln. So,
Walt Morris.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about those local guys. Hodkinson, I know Ryan well, and I see him during the summer, and he's pretty much got celebrity status in St. Mary's these days. I went and watched Max Smith band play, and he comes walking out onto stage with a Ryan Hodkinson jersey on. So,
That's awesome.
So, just let's talk about the experience of playing in the small town of St. Mary's. It's such an incredible story ever since you guys showed up there and dragged this team up to where it is. And you're just part of the culture now. And just tell us folks about how fun it is playing in that kind of a culture.
Well, I think that comes with playing in big games, right? I was in London for 5 years, and we had an amazing time in London with Pat and Ken Enser, and it's just a little bit different. Like we played in those big games in London, but there's something a little different about playing in St. Mary's, and I'm sure it's extra special for guys like Vaughn Barr and Chase McDougall and Ryan Hodkinson and any other local guys. Hopefully I'm not forgetting any, but I'm sure these are things they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Like you said, Chase is a heavy guy, physical, all that stuff, but there's parts of Chase's game that he hasn't been able to show because of how deep our lineup has been. But I mean, we don't win game. Well, we might win it, but if you remember like 2-2 against Stratford, he keeps 2 pucks alive in the offensive zone right before Weirzy scores. So there's a lot of offense there in Chase that with ice time and opportunity, I think he can show. I know last year he started getting more of a role on the penalty kill, and that'll get even bigger this year. But no, honestly, I don't know if there's a more well-liked kid in our room than Chase McDougall. So, and then like you said, Ryan Hodkinson, got a lot of good things to say about Ryan. I'll choose not to say too many. I mean, he won. I got to coach the kid, right? And I want his head to fit in the door when he shows up at camp next week. But listen, he won playoff MVP for a conference, regular season MVP. He's been here. This will be his 4th full season. He AP'd as a 16-year-old. So Ryan knows how I feel about him, how the organization feels about him. And he's seen a lot of great players come through, and he'll pick, the qualities of the leaders he's seen before him. And I'm sure he'll do that for his teammates, and they'll kind of follow him, no questions asked.
Well, tell us about Mike Herman ends up retiring. Hermie was amazing. Can't say enough good things about him. I know.
Had a great interview too. I got to say.
Oh my God, so good. And you brought in Brian Dobbin, who's got quite the resume. I was looking at his stuff. Played for the Knights, played for the Flyers, drafted by the Flyers, played for the Flyers and the Bruins. He's coached in the OHL and the GOHL. And then the past 3 seasons, the U18 with Elgin Middlesex. And so tell us a little bit about Brian Dobbin and how he came to match up with you.
Yeah, like they always say hockey's small world, right? But I have known who Brian Dobbin is for a long time. I think this is like my 10th or 11th year in the league. And I remember he was coaching it was Lambton Shores before they went to Kamoka, and but I'd still never met him. And then when Mike retired, Pat knew Brian a little bit and brought his name up. So kind of when we were going through the interview process, I met with him in St. Mary's, but before that, spoke to guys that he had coached that I had coached, current players on our team like James McGregor, Luke McMillan, and didn't hear a bad thing about the guy. And then we sat down, first time meeting, and we sat in the office for an hour and a half, just kind of talking hockey. And it just seems like a really good fit. I think I have a certain personality. Mike Siddle has a certain personality, and bringing in a guy like Brian, who's got a different personality, I think that's going to be great for the group to kind of mix things up. And I think his coaching career, playing career kind of speaks for itself. So I think he'll have kind of immediate respect from the guys.
Does he hate losing as much as you do?
Man, I'm telling you.
Does anybody?
Well, we met, and that's what he said. Like he's overqualified to be an assistant coach. He's more than capable of being a head coach, and he doesn't care about that at all. He said he just wants to win. So he's here for one thing, and that's to win hockey games. So that aligns with what we want to do in St. Mary's. So it was pretty easy to say yes to that.
Well, it won't take long. You guys got Stratford coming in on the 28th. Then you have Kamoka on the 30th. And then you come back to Stratford on September 4th. And then you're at Kamoka on September 5th. So it's just around the corner that this preseason gets going. But Brads, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate talking to you. Always a pleasure. And we look forward to big things from you and the Lincolns this year in the GOHL.
Right on. Oh, thanks for having me.
See you down the rink, brother.
That's right.
All right. Jeff Bradley, head coach of the St. Mary's Lincolns, will be up next with Keli Corpse from the London Nationals. We got Keli Corpse, head coach of the London Nationals. Keli, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you've had a good summer. You got over that 7-game loss with the Stratford Warriors. You've given up the GM's duty now to Sean Ryan. Kind of tell us, after the Stratford loss, you took some time off, and then when you got back into it, what has happened with the London Nationals since we last talked?
Well, it's been a lot of moving pieces, to be honest. Obviously, we've had a lot of players move on. I think we have 6 returnees at this point. And obviously with, working with the London Knights, they do such a good job with sending their guys down for development and then, using them the next year. So we're losing quite a few of our talented players, but that's our role, right, is to make sure that we do the best job in developing them and getting them to the next level. And, our roster's not full yet. We're still looking at some other pieces, but some of the guys we've signed, they're young, and I think we're going to have a young team again. I know last year, because of what happened at Christmas time and 10 different players coming in the January trade deadline, we were pretty young. So we feel comfortable with that. It will be, some trying times maybe at the start of the year for some of these guys to get their feet wet, but we're pretty excited about some of the guys we have signed and moving in. So
speaking to what you had just said there, right around Christmas time, when we heard that you guys were doing a complete changeover, we won't get into all of that, why it happened, but I remember the three of us talking, well, these guys are not going to do anything now for the rest of the year. Like, it's just unheard of to basically rebuild your team on the fly mid-season. And then you guys go on an absolute heater. Like, it all starts with Dante Bertolin in between the pipes, but, Cody Wood and all of these guys, Pomerleau, everyone just seemed to take off. And it was incredible, the coaching job, the GM job that you did. So hats off to you guys. But let's talk about some of these guys that you've signed, like Jack Samick, Alex Kerr, Carter Cox, Costas. I don't even want to butcher his name. And then Jory Sawyer, and then the two Latvians, Jonah Ramando. So just kind of take us through, you said that you're going to have a young team again, but let's start with it's got to be an interesting story. How did you get a hold of the Latvians from the BioSteel Academy? Tell us about that.
That had nothing to do with me, to be honest. It was our GM, Sean Ryan. He's kind of plugged into all the players around this age group, being an Oshawa scout. And the one kid reached out. The one Latvian reached out and was looking for an opportunity. And, Sean talked to him. And then the next thing you know, he's got a buddy. And these kids are monsters, And
they're both 6'5".
Yeah, they're monsters. And, I don't know much about them, to be honest. And I haven't even seen them skate because they obviously, being from Latvia, they weren't able to get down to development camp, too far away, obviously. But
right.
They seem like great kids on the phone. I know they've sent a couple of videos to us with all their Latvian teammates over there. They're running up sand hills and they're just constantly training. Like the love of the game for those two is crazy, right? So pretty excited to see what they look like in person on next Friday. But yeah, you know what? You want guys in your team that want to be here and they want to play, and I know you talked a little bit about what happened at Christmas last year, and guys we brought in that wanted to play, and sometimes it's way easier to coach when you have maybe a tiny bit less skill, but you got guys that want to be at the rink, they get along, and that's kind of how we're trying to build this culture here with this team. Is we might not be top of the standings, but we're going to have a team that's going to compete every night, and we're going to have a team that it's going to be a hard out. So we'll see what happens. But, the young kids that we have gotten, Samek and Huseus, I haven't seen them play live, but I've seen them on video, and I've talked to a lot of people that have seen them play, and they've got a lot of skill. The Sawyer
both
kids,
Knights picks.
Right. And I mean, you can never go wrong when the Hunters pick somebody. Let's put it that way.
Right? They're in a lot of ranks.
Well, and top picks too, like Samek's a second rounder. He was 36 or 37 overall.
Right.
And so you must be really excited about the potential there.
Well, you know what? To me, I don't care where they get picked. I've seen a lot of guys that are picked late that are phenomenal players. They just maybe haven't got the opportunity or never got eyes on them. But like I said, if the Hunters see something in these kids, and usually they're not wrong, very rarely, right? So we're pretty excited to have them. They seem excited to be with us. And, it's kind of a different team this year. We don't have the high-end skill that we did last year. So we're probably going to have to, play a little more defensive game, but that's okay with me, and like you said, we have Dante back in net, and the run he had last year when he took over the number one role, couldn't ask anything more from a goaltender. So, well,
he's a veteran in this league, right? This is year 4, I think, in the league, and he's played for a couple of teams now. I know he's always been in the West. I want to say LaSalle. I think he spent a year there, and was a tough. I remember he came in and absolutely stoned the Lincolns one Friday night. It was a snowy night, and we didn't even know if they were going to make it. And Dante comes in and just steals the show, and LaSalle wins 2-1. It's a couple of years ago now, but so you're in the room now. It's your team from the get-go. Like how kind of different is the dynamic this year from last year, where you just kind of took over and tried to do the best you can with what you had, whereas from the start of the year, this is your club now, and you can take it as far as it'll go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I was kind of thrown into the deep end when I jumped in at Christmas, but something I really enjoyed. And like I said, the kids we brought in, we bought in real quick, and that's something that I'm hoping this year that the kids do the same thing. I mean, you never know from year to year, right? Like it's sometimes you can get into a room and you can feel it right away that this isn't the right group, right? But I guess I'll find out once we get going and once we get our team picked what we have. But I mean, we'll put some systems in place, and these kids are smart enough to pick up the systems, and then we'll just step back. And at the end of the day, I'm not a big guy thinking that coaching wins a lot of games. I still believe in the guys on the ice. If they do the right things and you give them some of the systems and some of the things to succeed, they're going to do it. And a lot of times, for me anyways, I'll just sit back and let them kind of ride the wave. And, if I see a few things, I'll point it out. But I mean, it comes down to the kids at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. The kids in the leadership group, like that's basically what it boils down to. You can talk X's and O's, but the kids got to buy into it. And obviously they did that when you took over there at Christmas, Keli. So good on you guys. So, but
we were lucky. We were lucky. We got, when we got McGurn and Blake from Stratford, honest to God, I truly believe that changed our locker room. Like, McGurn's an upbeat guy, and he plays the same way on the ice. And Blaker was just he couldn't ask for a better captain. Just he was almost like a 30-year-old in a dressing room, right? He was so mature, So I was really, really lucky to get those two at the deadline, and they made a world of difference. And I mean, we got McGurn back this year, and he's obviously going to be the guy that's going to be running that room, and the guy that's going to be making sure things are done the right way. And I totally expect him to have a great year. So,
well, we're expecting great things from the London Nationals. I know you guys put the fear of God in Stratford fans there last year in the playoffs, and so all the best to you guys. We're looking forward. You guys, just looking here, Keli, you open up your preseason August 26th against St. Thomas at home. Then on the 29th, you go to Kamoka. September 2nd, you're at home with Kamoka. And then September 4th, you're at St. Thomas. So best of luck with your preseason. Best of luck with the regular season. And we really look forward to seeing you in Stratford and St. Mary's.
Hey, boys, thanks a lot. And keep doing what you guys are doing. Really appreciate it. You guys are doing an excellent job. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks very much, Keli.
Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. So,
okay, boys, take care.
You as well. Keli Corpse, head coach of the London Nationals. We have Mike Daley, head coach of the Air Centennials, with us. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So you end up 7th in the East last season. And with that, you get a first-round matchup with the St. Catharines Falcons. So you end up losing to them in the first round 4-1. And but I was looking at your rookie situation there in the playoffs last year, Mike, and two of your top three scorers in the playoffs were rookies with Lewandowski and Miller. And so just kind of tell us about maybe what happened last year and where the team stands right now, looking forward to the upcoming season.
Yeah, last year was it was an interesting season there. To start off with, the previous season they had the tough Game 7 loss in the first round against Brantford, and with that, with Cody stepping down, it was the first time in a long time the Air Centennials had needed a coach.
Right.
And I ended up taking the role mid-June, I think it was. So it was well after their prospect camp and stuff. And I'm very thankful for Jeff Grimwood and Tim Berry giving me the opportunity there. We knew going into it, we knew going into it that there was going to be some growing pains. We had a few returning players from the previous year, but not a ton. And the team was built very, very young, specifically for a reason. That was the direction that the board wanted to go. And I'm very comfortable with coaching groups like that and trying to get the most and maximize the potential with them. So we actually, funny enough, you mentioned the youth in the playoffs. After Christmas, we had no 20-year-olds on our roster. We had two 19-year-olds. One's Lucas Merrick. The other was Eric McDonald, who was our backup goalie for all intents. The rest of our team were 07s, 08s, and the 209s. So
crazy. We
basically had a U18 team and built the back half of the season. We kind of restructured the way we played, kind of designed our systems and the way we wanted to play more to the player's skill set rather than what we were trying to do at the start of the year, which was try and get them to adapt to something that we wanted them to do. Second half of the year, we realized that it may not have been working the way we wanted to. And we started playing a little bit more into what was comfortable for them and allowing them to kind of use their skills. And with that, we won more games. We had a good stretch run. We actually beat St. Catharines, I think the second last week of the season. Tyler was actually, I believe he was on either a bachelor party or something along those lines. So he was away for that game.
Right.
And it just kind of went down the stretch. We had a horrible game, the last game of the season against Pelham. I think the guys at that point were feeling pretty comfortable with themselves, having clinched playoffs. And, that last game was not great for us. We played Pelham pretty tough all year. And so with that, and young guys, you're never really sure what you're going to get. But going into the playoffs there, we got the most out of our guys. We lost the first game down in St. Catharines. Came back, beat them in game 2 in air, went back down there for game 3, had a 3-2 lead with about 4 minutes to go in the game, gave up a tying goal on a breakaway. And they scored first shift of overtime. And with that, I think we went into game 4 back at home in air, everybody feeling a little sorry for themselves still. And we had a tough one that night. And then we came back in game 5, it looks bad. If I remember the score, it was 6-2, I think. And they got 2 empty netters at the end when we were pushing to try and tie the game up.
Nothing to lose at that point.
Absolutely. And with it, like looking back on it, reviewing it, when I watched the game film after, I actually thought it was probably our best game of the series. It was game 5. We outshot them. I felt like we outplayed them, but same time, like, that was a strong team. That St. Catharines team was very good.
Yeah.
They worked hard. Like, it was wave after wave after wave, every shift on the ice. You never got a break. They were 4 lines deep. Their decor was great at killing plays in the neutral zone. Their goaltending was solid when you did get past their D. It was a tough team to play against. So I was proud of the fact that our guys got a couple of wins against them late in the year. We were the only team lower seed on our side to win a game in the first round. So we'll take some kudos from that. And like you said, the youth of our team really shone through the latter part of the year. Carter Lewandowski was a horse for us from day one. We knew he was going to be high skill level, exceptional player. He'll do well this year in the OHL with the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Yeah, he's moved on to the O, right?
Yeah. Tall, lanky kid. When he puts some meat on his bones, he's going to be a tough guy to play against because he's got some feistiness to him. He had no problem last year in Cambridge in a game. He made a tough pass to Lukey Merrick, and Lukey got hit by Jack Darcy center ice, and Carter went and found Jack and made sure that he had to answer for it. And
right,
that's not something not a lot of 16-year-olds would do.
Right. Yeah.
Win or lose, he made the mistake and he went and owned up for it. And so Carter was exceptional for us. It's gonna be tough to lose him, but at the same time, like, this is the next step that he needs to take in his development. He's an excellent hockey player. Matty Miller, another one. Matty really grew throughout the year. His game, he came in as a high skill player, and at the start of the year when we had a few older guys, he was playing down the lineup a little bit. He ran into some injury trouble. He got hurt in Guelph camp at the start of the year. And then I want to say about 5 or 6 games in the season, he got hurt again. So by the time he came back, you're talking about a first-year guy who's undersized coming into the league to begin with. It took him a little while to get going. And I think the back half of the season, our last 15 or 16 games, Matty was almost a point a game for us. Like, turned into an excellent player, and with the ice time given to him, high hockey IQ guy, and just one of the nicest kids you'll ever meet. Unfortunately, he's going to be moving on as well. Like, fortunately for him, unfortunately for us.
Right.
So Matty's going to go play in Smith Falls this year, and we hope, we wish the best for him. We hope he has a great season up there. We had some other excellent young players come through our program last year. Some of the guys that we're looking forward to having back this season. We've got our whole Guelph crew of Logan Beezer, Casey Craig, Landon Mitchell, Braden Wilsey. They're all expecting to be back this year and looking forward to what we're going to be able to put on the ice. We've got Lucas Merrick coming back. Lukey's going to be our captain, and he is an exceptional kid. He's fire on the ice. Every shift, high energy. You better make sure you got your head up. He's only 5'7", 5'8", 160 pounds, but he's going to run through you. He's going to make you play hard, and he'll step up if he has to. So he's kind of our lead by example guy. Like, you want that kind of energy level from your players, and we're excited to have that and give Lukey the opportunity to kind of lead and work on his leadership skills as well. And As I go through our lineup there, we're going to lose the majority of our, what I would have called our second line. Logan Rivard's moved on to the Newmarket Hurricanes of the OJHL, along with Brody Tulk, who is one of our top D-men. Don William Bristol has moved on to the Milton Menace of the OJHL. So we've lost a few guys this year, but at the same time, we've got a lot of guys that we felt could step up coming back this year and move up in the lineup and take on some of those minutes and the opportunity that's going to be given to them. And we've been able to add a couple of guys as well. We've added Robert Matson, who's a Guelph Storm draft pick. Played a couple games last year with the Storm as a 16-year-old while he was at Bishop Kearney. He was a second-round USHL pick. And, the reason he went in the 15th round of the OHL draft was because he was a second-round USHL pick, and it was before the rules had changed.
Right.
So he's a pretty high-end player that's going to come in and put some points on the board for us. We're looking to have I'm not sure if I can say this or not, but we are expecting in the lineup who's also a pick who's coming down from there's a little bit of a paperwork issue there right now. So I'm saying I'm not sure if I can say that or not.
We love a good scoop, Mike.
That's
we love
right.
it.
Yeah. This won't be coming out for a couple of days, so let me know
Hopefully
if I got to take it out.
Yeah, hopefully it's cleared up by then. And then on the back end, we've got we only had two players wearing letters last year at the end of the season. That was Lukey Merrick and Matthew Derrigan. So Matty Derrigan's returning for us, and if you know anything about Matty, he's another guy that's real hard to play against. He loves throwing his body, loves standing up for his teammates. He's got some offense to his game. We're expecting him to have a big year on the back end for us and again, take on some more responsibility. We've got some young guys in Jackson Shuchuk, who's probably right away, I'll say one of the fastest guys in the league. It's a blur when he goes by me. We've added Sawyer Smith from the Waterloo U18 AAA. He was a captain of his Guelph U16 team, and he just finished a run with the Guelph Regals in the Junior B Lacrosse League, where they lost in the Ontario Finals. And Sawyer he's a former Team Ontario lacrosse player, so he's a pretty high level athlete and
good eye-hand coordination.
100%.
Yeah,
big strong kid. So we're excited about the team we've got this year. Again, last year's team, we kind of knew going into it that it was going to be a different year from what the Centennials had experienced in the past. And I thought we ended on a real strong, positive note, and we're hoping to roll that over into this season.
Tell us about Guelph Storm draft pick, 09 goalie, Cruz Resnick. He was your number one there last year at the end. Is he going to be back at all, Mike?
I don't think Cruz will be back with us. He was part of an off-season trade here to the Oshawa Generals. Okay. Cruz, when he came in, the expectation for young goalies like that is generally let them get their feet wet. We ended up having to thrust Cruz into the starting role probably a little earlier than we wanted to. And with that, he handled it well. For a kid coming in at 16 years old, seeing different types of shots, being away from his family for the first time, living at a billet's house, eating different food, different routines, not seeing his goalie coach on a day-to-day basis like he was previously. Cruz handled it really well, and he was a professional about it. He gave us an opportunity to win most games, and that's what you want from your goalie, right? You're not looking for them to be the reason that you win every game. You want them to give you the chance to win every game, and he gave us a chance to stay in games all season. I think, to Oshawa's benefit now, I think he's going to benefit from that. And it'll be good to see him take the next step in his journey as well. He's earned it.
Oh, Mike, good. I've been in that rink for some big games over the last, I remember, I think it was 3 years ago, they had a triple overtime thriller against the Waterloo Siskins and won that one. I was in the barn 2 years ago for Game 7 against Brantford. That's a fun barn to go in there. Tell me about playing in the North Dumfries Center, because you go into a little town like Ayr and then you just sort of go into a parking lot and see this seemingly brand new rink, holds several hundred people there. Tell me about playing in that rink there.
Yeah, it's great. It's loud when we score goals, put it that way. And you get, it seats about 1,100. So it's a nice little bowl there. Fairly new rink, as you said. Funny enough, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but we're actually twinning the rink right now. So there was a big field to the side of the rink. And as players, we drive around the back, and we've got an entrance back there into the dressing room. I think that's cut off right now because of the construction they're doing. So we're actually putting a second pad on there. But to go in there on a Thursday night and see all the people from town that are coming, and they ring that top level there, the standing level, and then you got a couple hundred. I think we averaged about 450 last year during the regular season, and then once you get into the playoffs, you add to that, and just the acoustics of the rink make it really, really loud when there's excitement going on, big games and stuff. So it's a really fun place to be. That's
great sight lines. It's just not the best place to broadcast from. I broadcasted a game there with Stratford a couple of years ago, and you're in that little box at the one end of the rink. It's kind of tough to see out of the glass. And the other thing I noticed about that rink is that the bar is down at the one end. So every time, if you're trying to walk out of the rink through there, the whole rink just kind of congregates down to that one end of the rink. And I'm going, well, that must be where the bar is, because that's where everybody's hanging out.
It sure does. And that's I'm glad you bring that up, because I get an opportunity to plug one of our sponsors here, Willowball Brewery, who supplies the beer and the liquor for the bar.
All right. Well, we look forward to having some of their beer. Halser doesn't drink anymore, but Schenker and I do. So we'll definitely have a couple of beverages, and
just makes me a dependable DD.
That's right. All right, Mike, thank you so much for coming on Muzzled. Really appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you and the Air Centennials over the course of the upcoming season.
Well, thank you guys. Love what you do, and appreciate the exposure you give our league and our players.
Well, it's our pleasure. Mike Daley, head coach of the Air Centennials. Look for great things out of these guys this year. Mike, thanks again for coming on. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
That was a great start to our preview teaser. We've got another one coming up next week. We won't say who's coming on that, because we still got to get a couple of commitments. But what did you think of tonight, Halser?
Well, it's so cool talking to the commish and hearing about all the new rules and what have you. And, I follow the socials along on like the GOHL fan page and something. Like, everybody wants to know, like, okay, so it's going to be like the what's it going to be like? So I really appreciate Craig Spada being frank and forthright to let us know what exactly is going to go on there. And of course, I could sit and talk to Bradley for an hour on any given time. And of course, Keli Corp's great guy. And it was nice meeting Mike Daley too. He's a really interesting guy.
Yeah.
And I love that rink. I love that North Dumfries rink. And if you ever get a chance, folks, go and see a game there, because all the sight lines are fantastic in that rink, and they play a nice brand of hockey too. So it's a nice way to kind of scrape off the rust and get started up for next season. I'm looking forward to, we've got some really good guests next time too. And hopefully when we get them locked in, we'll be able to pump the tires on that. Yeah, everybody will get a look at them.
Absolutely. All right. For Brian Hawley, I'm Gary Ray. You've been listening to episode 40 of the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.